special music. I was going to have some, but I didn't come up with a good song this week. I kept listening to all my music. It's like, there's got to be one that would come in that, you know, words to build your life on was what I picked. And it's like, there's got to be something there. And it's amazing. Remember I told you Psalm 119, we've been reading a section each week that I've been preaching since I started it. I said I'll just keep doing each section as I go, and I don't know how many sections we're in, 10, 12, I don't know. We're further down. We did Psalm 119, 113 to 120 today. So we got a lot of verses in there, right? So I was like, I was reading the lectionary today, this week, and I was trying to pick out the sermon passages, and it's like, you know, I didn't like, they had a passage in Luke. I'm sorry, folks, it did not fit with this church. I was like, I'm not reading that. I don't like it. It's not going. My heart's not in it. And then I read Psalm 119, and it's amazing. Every week I've done this section, and I've preached, some verse in the section of Psalm 119 has gone with the sermon and the lectionary reading, and I didn't do it. So obviously God's in there somewhere, helping us out, because it's amazing how that works. But in Psalm 119, it says, and I was looking at cross-references, it says, here's the verse, and you heard it earlier, get out of my life, evildoers, so I can keep my God's commands. And the lectionary reading in Galatians, remember what it says? It says he didn't want to be a rule keeper because rule keeping put limits on what he could do and not do. That sure does. Get out of my life, you rule keepers. They're trying to put rules on me, restrict my ability what? To freely love. As God has freely loved me. Whoa, isn't that amazing? And then I took that one and it cross-referenced Matthew 7. That's how I got the sermon passage today. Matthew 7, verses 21 through 29. And I'm a computer nerd. So when I say that it starts out with knowing the correct password, okay, we have security at work, okay? And we do real estate closing, so we deal with a lot of lender institutions, banks, and stuff like that. And security over the last year has gone from kind of okay to massive amounts of it. Because we're trying to protect personal, private information so no one can get a hold of it. So security's gone to the hilt. So you have to change your password every 6 months. Actually, it's supposed to be every 90 days, but my employees rejected because they never had to before. So I'm giving them a year of every 6 months, and then I got to flip it down to 90 days. Trying to get them used to actually changing it. All right, you know, get used to it, and then I'll make it shorter, and you'll do it better, right? So I'll do that. But these banking institutions, okay, we have Bank of America, USAA, you know, Regions. Everybody has a different secure website we have to get to. And you have to know the correct password to be able to get to what? The magic document so someone can buy a home. All right. We have a notebook. Yeah, that's about 3 inches. We got a 3-inch thick notebook full of passwords. You have to know the right password. So when I saw this, I was like, this is definitely my sermon passage. So, knowing the correct password to get to God. Knowing the right words to get to God. Think about it that way. Now I'll read the passage. Knowing the correct password, saying master, master for instance, isn't going to get you anywhere with God. What is required is serious obedience, doing what is God's will. I can see it now. At the first judgment, thousands stirring up to me saying, Master, we preached the message. We bashed the demons. Our God-sponsored projects had everyone talking. And do you know what I'm going to say? You missed the boat. All you did was use me to make yourselves look important. You don't impress me one bit. You're out of here. These words I speak to you are not incidental additions to your life. Incidental. Small, medium, you know, it's like incidental. Little things. It's not incidental to your life. Homeowner improvements to your standard of living. In other words, little things you can do to improve your standard of living. No, this isn't what obeying God is and knowing about God's love. Isn't small improvements to make it better and easier for you to live in this world. It's not going to make it easier, folks. Loving people around you unconditionally isn't easy all the time. These words are foundational words, words to build your life on. If you work these words into your life, you're like a smart carpenter who built his house on solid rock. Rain poured down, the river flooded, a tornado hit, but nothing moved that house. It was fixed to that rock. But if you just use words in Bible studies and don't work them into your life, you're like the stupid carpenter who built his house on a sandy beach. When a storm rolled in and the waves came up, it collapsed like a house of cards. When Jesus concluded his address, the crowd burst into applause. They had never heard teaching like this. It was apparent that he was living everything he was saying. Quite a contrast to the religious leaders. This was the best teaching they had ever heard. Wow, how about that? And it's amazing how you just look things over and you say, you know, it's the magic words in life. And I keep using this example, and everybody, I don't know if anybody does this or not. I go to the grocery store, I'm the office manager, so I have to buy supplies for work. So I have to go and buy supplies for work. I have to buy food for me. I have to buy food for my dog. So I go to the store more than one time a week. And for a person who hates to go shopping, this is what I do. I'm like, all right, I'll go. Anyway, so I go. And every time I get the chance, I'll get somebody's cart and take it up for them. You know, the other day I did it for a lady, and you could tell she was having a hard day. She was down in the dumps. I said, ma'am, I'm going up. Would you like me to take your cart? Oh, would you? Would you really? Yeah, I'd be happy to. The response turned her day around. I could tell. It's just a small act, but it's an act of love. And to me, I know it's just a small act of love, but it's one I try to do every chance I get, because I have yet to see someone not turn around and say, you will? Something for me, really? Isn't that what love is? Reaching out to someone and helping them? I don't know about you, I'll take that card up every time if no one's around. I don't mind. But to have someone do that, I was like, oh, wow, you just saved me all those steps. It's the little things, isn't it? It's the itty-bitty things in life that can turn your heart around. They can help you make a better day out of it. It's a living relationship with God. Because if you remember from the reading from the New Testament, from Galatians, is it not clear to you to not go back to rule keeping? I don't know about you, when I was a kid, okay, I stopped going to church. My parents introduced us to church. We went to church. I found Jesus at church, and my family moved a lot. And we moved to this one area, and we went to this church, and all of a sudden, I didn't fit in. They had all these rules I didn't want to keep. Okay, it was on the rich side of town, I guess, because I wasn't dressed as way as they were. Other people wouldn't talk to me because I was a new kid. I was like, that's not how church is supposed to be. I don't want to go back, Mom and Dad. And they said, if you don't want to go back, you don't have to. Smartest move they ever made. Smartest move they ever made. Because otherwise, what? I'd have been convinced that rule keeping was the thing to do. I know Catholics. I have a friend that's a Catholic, and they can't come to communion unless they've gone to confession first. That's not fair. That's a rule, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Jesus just said, don't keep rules. It's not about rule keeping, folks. I love you unconditionally, right where you are, no matter what you've done or what you'll do in the future, and I know what's going to happen.
That's right. Talk to me.
But He's right there with us. And He's going to love us unconditionally, no matter right where we are.
That's right.
And we're to do what? I had an example once. Someone said, may I borrow your cup of mint?
Sure, yeah.
Well, I don't want to. Yours empty?
No way. Finish it.
Philip, yours maybe, huh?
Here, hang on. I'll be right back. All the water. All right. This is God's love.
Uh-huh.
Okay? This is us. We're a cup, right? All right. So God keeps pouring it in no matter what we did. He keeps pouring it in no matter what we did. He keeps pouring it in no matter what we do. He keeps pouring it into what? You can't take it anymore, and He still keeps pouring it in. So what should you do? Share it with someone around you.
That's right.
Start emptying the cup by loving others. Don't let it overflow and be wasted on the ground.
Talk to him.
Go out and share it.
You can swallow that while you got it.
Help yourself. Enjoy the whole cup. But that to me is the best example I could think of to share it with you.
Oh,
He keeps filling us with that love.
that's right.
And we need to turn what? Turn around and share that love with others.
Pass it on.
Pass it on. And that's all I can think to say. Go out and love this week.
Pass it on.
Amen.